Wait for it, and we're live. Hey, all you crazy sci-fi and fantasy fans. It's time for your daily dose of shenanigans over here at the Blasters and Blaze podcast. Just a couple of nerdy veterans and one chaos coordinator geeking out over our science fiction passions and fantastical fantasies. A place where magic is king, the sky is the limit, and space is the place. We are the podcast that puts the fun in dysfunction. So without further ado, first, we're going to let our guests introduce themselves. We have Madam Chloe Garner, first of her line.
Hello, good evening. I am Chloe Garner, author of science fiction, fantasy, urban fantasy, paranormal, and just about anything else that I put a pen to. And I am so excited to be here tonight.
Outstanding. Next, we have Miss Hunter Kay Wallace.
Hello. I'm the author of the Migratory Farmers series, which is a blend of fantasy and cozy. And I'm happy to be here.
You're supposed to tell us something about yourself. I mean, obviously we know what you write. We'll talk about that at the end. But do you like long walks on the beach, pina coladas, dancing in the rain? I don't know. That's a song in there somewhere.
I like having 10 minutes to myself when my kids don't need anything.
Oh my goodness. See, that's relatable. Next, we have the many personalities of Miss Jana S Brown.
Hi guys, I'm Jana S Brown, though I write science fiction, fantasy, urban fantasy, and other such things under the pen name Jena Rey, and I write romance under other pen names, and I'm just happy to be here tonight. I'm listening to the music in my head. Ding-a-ding-ding-ding-ding-ding.
As long as it's not dueling banjos, we're good.
Hey, dueling banjos is awesome, particularly when it's Steve Martin. Steve Martin and Kermit the Frog dueling banjos is the best dueling banjos ever.
Can't go wrong with Kermit. All right, next we have Mr. Jesse James Fain, the outlaw author himself.
Yuletide's blessing, everyone. Like JR said, I am Jesse James Fain, the outlaw author. I am also a forever DM. So the use of bards has been much debated in my life. I'm excited to get to talk about some of that. D&D is definitely a big inspiration for my science fiction, fantasy, and revenge tales.
Okay, and he did suggest in the pre-show that maybe we have to do some of the other classes since the D&D classes did inspire a lot of fantasy. So I can't punish me with a good time. All right, and last but certainly not least, we have Miss Teri K. Jobe, author, narrator extraordinaire.
Well, good evening there, everybody. Or morning, or afternoon, whatever time of day it is for you.
Yep, outstanding. So if it feels like we're faking the funk with the holiday season, just know that you're listening in December. Happy future. We're recording in October, so don't blame them if their seasonal spirit is just a little bit understated. They haven't even done trick-or-treating yet, so cut them some slack. All right, and with that, before we get started, we do have to do the religion question. So are you ladies and gentlemen ready for this?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So because they're all first we got to talk about how we first found them. So obviously we met a support group for people kicked out of the Three Ravens Imperial Musical Institute for bardric behaviors. I don't know. It was a lot of words. If we couldn't say it right, that's probably why we got kicked out. But apparently we're not singers. So we moved on to cooler things. Anyway, with that horrible segue out of the way, the religion question. So what is your favorite Christmas memory? And if anybody isn't ready to go first, I'll give mine. Just give you time to think a little bit longer. Okay, I'm not seeing everyone going at once. So for me, go ahead, Hunter.
We went to my grandma and grandpa's house, and it was great. And they gave me the best gift in the world they could think of, a Barbie doll, doctor-themed. And I hated it because I thought, blood and guts, ew! And now I'm a caregiver, and I mean, I love it, but I still throw stuff. So we've come full circle.
So you're no longer weirded out by the blood and guts?
Not at all.
Not at all.
I'm also very safe.
Sure. So for me, I guess it'd be Iraq 04 because I had Christmas with the last time some of my friends were left alive. So for me, it's always bittersweet, pleasant memories. Not to be a downer, but I think that's a good thing. You remember where you've been. It's good. All right. So Teri, I know you were feeling the bah humbug in the pre-show, but what is your favorite Christmas memory?
I'm actually going to continue to go in that direction. I never liked Christmas very much. Yeah, the presents were nice and, all that. But Dad had greenhouses and sold to florists. Christmas meant poinsettias, which meant work starting in September. Bah humbug. And now it's just the general commercialization. And as I think JR already said, it's October. There's already Christmas decorations out. So I'm sticking with bah humbug.
The funny memes about Tim Curry morphing into Mariah Carey and that they're already thawing her Christmas songs have been hilarious. And you were right. Walmart had Christmas stuff out and Halloween candy in the same aisle.
Yeah. No. Bad.
Yeah. There's something morally wrong with that, people. You don't start Christmas till after Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Hey,
Whatever.
Why does he have to get the short shift, right? Gobble, gobble, mother effers. All right. Chloe, what was your favorite Christmas memory?
All right, yeah. So I'm a weirdo, and I noticed a kitten sitting in a storm drain as we were going on a walk 2 or 3 days in a row. So I started going out and feeding him cans of food, which he actually carried off in his mouth down into the storm drain before I could get him multiple times. So I live trapped this animal and brought him to my bathroom. And he was about 13 weeks old, and he was fully feral, but at 13 weeks, he can turn him around pretty well. And this was about September. So by Christmas time, he's still sort of a wild animal. And we're going to check to make sure we know where he is and what he's been up to every time we come home. And there was an afternoon we could not find him anywhere. He wasn't upstairs. He wasn't downstairs. He wasn't under anything. We're searching everywhere and can't figure out, did he get away? Because if he gets away, he's never coming back. And we finally found him at eye level, peering out of the Christmas tree at me.
Yep.
Nice.
And it's a very fond little vignette of that little face peering out of the tree at me. Because at this point, he's 26 pounds. And he'd take the whole thing down.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes. All right. So, Jana, favorite Christmas memory?
So I'm going to join Hunter with the going to Grandma and Grandpa's house thing. But my grandparents lived on an 80-acre farm out in the middle of nowhere. And the best thing that happened around Christmas time is I live in Utah, so we get nice heavy snows. And my grandfather had taken the hood of an old blue station wagon, flipped it upside down, and then put in some boards to hang on to and some pieces of carpet. And then he attached it to his tractor. And the game at Christmas time was to pile on as many cousins as physically possible. And he would drag us off into the field and spend time whipping us around until he knocked everybody off. And we would do that for hours and hours until everybody was so frozen and generally a little bit dinged up because, again, this is the 80s. There were no seat belts or anything. There was some carpet to hang on to, and you learn how to take a fall. And so we would do that until Grandma called and said that there was hot chocolate. And then everybody would dash inside and stand there in the garage, peeling out of all of your outer layers, because to bring snow into my grandmother's house was to court death itself. And so you would strip down to almost naked, and then parents would be there with clothing to wrap around these freezing children, and then we would get ushered off to Grandma. And Grandpa never had a better time than with that tractor. And you would be surprised at the whip angle you can get to dragging a bunch of kids on the hood of a car with an old tractor, and we'd slide for ages. It was great. And when it comes, and now we're even with the tractor, it's like, this can't be good because he's going to turn directions, and he would. So that is my very favorite thing.
So you reminded me when my stepdad was stationed at Great Lakes. There we'd go, because in Chicago we actually got snow that year, and we went sledding. And I remember this kid that like went down sledding, hit the ramp, instead of stopping, he went airborne and crashed. And he broke his leg. And as the ambulance is pulling him away, he's like, "Please, can I go down one more time before you take me to the hospital?"
Yep, that sounds right.
So, all right, Jesse, what is your favorite Christmas memory?
I would say, I'm trying to remember what year it was. It was something like 96, maybe 98. I'm a Georgia boy. I've lived in North Georgia my entire life, somewhere in, around, or north of Atlanta. So snow does not happen. I think the last time it's actually snowed on Christmas here is like 2010. But I've been lucky enough that it snowed maybe 3-4 times, during the holiday season in my life. And one of those, all of my family, our cousins, we had like 26, 27 people in the house. Huge. And we do Christmas Eve is Christmas to us. For years and years and years, I would get put to bed because I was the baby. And then my parents would come wake me up at like midnight or 1 a.m. and they'd have literally put me to bed with nothing. And then, all the kids had to go and the whole adult family throws everything up. So like there's just a tree and then all of a sudden there's lights, the presents, they all get pulled out of closets and attics and out of trunks in the cars. Well, the snow meant everybody was snowed in because if it snows at all, it turns to ice. The whole road ices over in Georgia. So the whole family was basically there when half of them normally would have gone home already. And it was just a good time. We had snow, we had everybody there that wasn't normally there. And, the family was doing really well at that point. I had a ton of presents. Everybody had a ton of presents. So it just turned it into kind of an all-night party, and then everybody was dead at like 8 a.m. Christmas morning and didn't wake up until 3 in the afternoon.
Nice. All right. So next, which was your favorite gift that you received? Anybody want to go first, or you want me to? I'm good. Okay, Chloe.
I'm gonna make it easy. I've gotten lots of really cool presents, and I've talked about a few of them over the years, but one of the ones that has really meant the most was a copy of Stephen King's On Writing from my mother-in-law before I started noveling. It was one of those that I'd seen recommended a few places and just put it on a list of things that I would like. And she really did go out of her way to endorse and support the idea of being a writer. It was a really cool moment.
That's awesome. Hunter, you ready to go next?
Cinnamon bear. That was the gift from my grandma and grandpa that I did like. I like cinnamon bear enough. It's just a red bear that it's now in my kids' toy drawer. It survived the Goodwill runs.
That's serious.
It came with some chocolates. The chocolates are gone, thank goodness.
I'd be worried if they weren't.
That would be a long time.
Although, I mean, I have had a instance where I brought a Diet Coke back from Iraq because it had the cool Arabic writing on it. And I found out that my son had opened it because when we found out he was sick and drank the whole thing because he thought it was a cool bottle of Diet Coke. And Daddy drinks Diet Coke. So he drank at that time, I think it was like 15 years old when he drank it.
Oh, wow. Oh,
yeah. We ended up saving the can though because it had all the cool Arabic writing on it. So we just filled it with we melted candle wax into it so it formed the shape of it to hold the shape because once they're empty they crush. But yeah, he was sick for a couple days. He never snuck into stuff again for a while, at least for a while. He was a little more cautious. But I think my favorite gift that I received, it was when I was deployed, but it was beef jerky. And it was because this little old lady had decided she was going to adopt troops. And I don't even know how she got my name and my address, but she just started sending us all kinds of cool stuff. But like when you're eating MREs and crappy dining food, like beef jerky was like gold. And the fact that some stranger I didn't even know wrote these long letters to me and sent me the beef jerky made it special. So I still call her every Christmas and I send her beef jerky now. Eat it, but it's on principle I send it to her. So, and if when she passes, I will probably visit and just leave her beef jerky there every year. Traditions, All right. So who wants to go next with a heartwarming memory?
I will.
All right, Jana.
I have two. So one of my favorites is I have stepsons, and I was introduced into their lives when they were 7 and 11. And my 7-year-old, the first year that we were together after his dad and I got married, he bought me a gigantic golden colored chicken that was a bookshelf holder. And the thing is, it's huge. It is ghastly. His father took them to the dollar store to look for stuff. And he's trying to, get her a nice flower, get her a nice something for the kitchen, something this, that, and the other. And no, my boy goes immediately to this gigantic golden chicken bookend. And I mean, it's heavy enough you could kill somebody with that thing. If I need it for home defense, you just grab the chicken and just wham, and that is the end of that. And I still have it. It is many, many years later now, and I love the golden chicken. So I like that one. And the other one is actually for gifts that we've given. So never mind. That's my very favorite one. I have a lot of other favorites, but that's the one that always comes up is where did the chicken come from? It's like, it's my boy.
We've got to fit the golden chicken into a story somehow.
Oh, yeah. It shows up occasionally because it's a home defense golden chicken.
Absolutely.
And holds my books up, so.
All right, Hunter, do you have a favorite holiday gift? You said cinnamon bear already. That's right. Jesse, what about you? What's your favorite gift that you've received?
So we went to Disney one year for Christmas, Disney World one year for Christmas, and my grandparents came with us, so it was cool because I didn't have everybody that would have been there, but my grandparents were hard to get to go anywhere. You can't get my grandfather to go out to eat barely. Like, it's a struggle. He just doesn't. So him saddling up and coming with us was a big deal. And while I was there, I was thinking, because we had gone to Disney, like, Christmas was not going to be a big deal. And it was probably like 98 because I think that's the year the N64 came out. And I got a I got an N64, Nintendo 64 in Disney. And it had Mario Kart and Mario 64. The really cool thing about that is that now my best friend, who I call my brother kept his game system. He kept his N64, and I kept all my games. So my son and my nephew, they still play the exact same copy of Smash Brothers and Mario Kart and things like that. They still play that on his N64 to this day. Like, a couple weeks ago when they were together, they were
That's
playing.
Awesome. So. Although, if you don't know, Mario Kart is a dangerous game. It will break families. I'm just saying, the feuds that can start from that one. It's right up there with the board game Katana or
Catan, Settlers of Catan.
Yeah, Settlers of Catan. There we go.
Yeah, I always blame Monopoly more than Catan.
Yeah. All right, Teri, what about you? What is the favorite gift that you received?
That's going to sound pretty lame after all these awesome things. So does anyone remember those kitty surprise or puppy surprise toys that had, like, there was a zipper on the belly and you pulled out X number of little ones? Mm-hmm. Well, I got a dinosaur surprise when I was a kid. I wanted, like, kitty surprise or puppy surprise. I didn't really care which one. Well, I don't know where the heck my mom found it, but she found one that was a dinosaur, one of the long neck brontosaurus or diplodocus, one of the two, and it had one little one inside it, and I was very pleased.
Excellent.
So you said it was what kind of dinosaur?
Like the brontosaurus.
Cool.
The long neck type.
Long necks were the popular ones for a while.
It was the 90s. Land Before Time was big around that time.
Yeah, that's why it was popular.
I hadn't put that together.
I loved that show as a kid. I still watched it with my kids when they were the appropriate age, just because there's something sweet and wholesome about that. All right, and so the next question is, which was your favorite gift to give? And I'll go first because it's actually heartwarming. But I remember the Christmas when mine were 4 and 6. We actually had really good year that year financially, so we went a little crazy for the first time, and we bought them all these like Imaginext toys. They had like spaceships and aircraft carriers and planes and all the things. And after going crazy with those and spending all those hours wrapping and doing all of the assembly before, which now I should give it to them unwrapped if I was doing it again. But after all of that, what did they do? They played with the boxes. They turned the boxes into forts, and they had their little war, and the toys didn't get played with until the boxes fell apart. So that's my favorite memory. All right, Jesse, what about you?
And we're doing a gift that we gave, correct?
Yeah, you could give it to anybody. Gift that you gave.
So my son's mom and my little dude loves dinosaurs. I did too as a kid. She did too as a kid. But he's, to this day, many years later, is still absolutely, I'm going to be a paleontologist, dinosaurs. If I see something dinosaur for me, I got to pick it up. So she just moved down to where her family was. I was trying to find a job down there. So I was doing a lot of back and forth, a lot of traveling. And so I drove down for Christmas. And after he went to bed, in kind of the tradition of my family, we built an entire mini dinosaur tree for him. And filled the whole thing with toy dinos and dino lights and decorations. And so it was not even, the tree itself wasn't even there when he went to bed. And he woke up and walked out of the room and walked right into dinosaur tree. So yeah, that's definitely my favorite.
Nice. All right. What about you, Teri? Do you have a favorite gift that you've given someone?
Well, it's not just one. It's kind of this thing that my husband and I started doing a few years ago. We actually celebrate Flood. For the uninitiated, that's an Icelandic tradition. On Christmas Eve, you give each other a book, and you are supposed to spend most of the night reading and eating chocolate. It's great. We'll put that in the chat because it's not the easiest thing to spell here. But we love doing that and getting usually the Lindor round chocolates and just enjoy getting away from reality. And it's awesome.
How did I not know this was a thing? And when I tried to type it in, I was so far off that it was like Halo Book Flood, because I guess I'm used to me being a Halo fan.
It's that Icelandic pronunciations.
Yeah.
JR's version got a lot more Master Chief.
Yeah, it did.
That's true.
But okay, I found the link for it. I'm going to list a link in the description, in the show notes, dear listener, where it breaks down this tradition, because I think we need to steal it, because, we're all here because we like books. So, I mean, how are we not celebrating this already? All right. So, Chloe, what is the favorite gift that you've given?
I decided a few years back that I was going to write a mid-grade story for my oldest daughter and get a cover for it and publish it to Amazon and order a copy of it off of Amazon for her for Christmas. And this was the first time that she actually connected with and realized what it was that I do. I put that in her hands and I explained that it's a new pen name just for her, but this book is on sale on Amazon and I wrote it for her. And yeah, that was it. The connection finally happened. It was a very abstract thing that I did up until then. So I got more out of it than she did, but I appreciated it.
Nice. All right. What about you, Hunter?
Oh man, not to get sappy, but somewhere around 11 or 12, when your brain kind of changes, hopefully some of it's good ways. I was feeling kind of mushy, and I thought, I'll get some little presents for my sister, but I can't even express how much I love her. So I get this beautiful padded box, and it has a nice note in it. There's I couldn't hold as much love as I have in any present for you. And she opens it up, starts checking, and she's like, did it fall out? Where's the present? It was? So there's no present?
That's awesome. All right, last but certainly not least, Miss Jana.
Well, mine ties with what we're talking about tonight because I come from a ridiculously musical family, and we do all sorts of music together and piano duets and singing and all that kind of stuff. So what we give to my grandmother, because at a certain point, it's really hard to gift for grandparents because they actually have most of what they want, and you can only give them so many ties, trinkets, cards, and other such things. And so what my grandma wants is she wants updated pictures. So every year she wants a picture of the family and what it looks like now. But her biggest request is that we sing to her because she's going blind. She's got macular degeneration, so she can't see the music anymore to play or to do things herself. And so we sing to her. And the year when we were all doing COVID, we couldn't go to her house to sing to her. So we got all of the family, as much extended family as possible, on the Zoom call. and we did Christmas performances for her on Zoom because that's the only way that she could hear from us. And so that was my favorite. And we still, for as long as we have her, she's 91 now and still trucking along, we spend at least some time every single year performing for Grandma.
Oh, that's sweet. All right. And next is, what is your favorite holiday show? Mine is easy. I love Prep and Landing because it's basically like Santa's special ranger group kind of thing. They do assaults on buildings. If you're curious, there is a movie review from last year where we actually, Nick, Savvy, and I reviewed that movie. Well, the series of movies, so you can check that out. But Prep and Landing for me. What about you, Chloe? What is your favorite holiday movie?
I have been watching White Christmas every year for as many years as I can remember. And as Love Actually is making a good run at it. We've added that to the list, and I really, really love the storytelling of Love Actually, but you cannot beat White Christmas.
Okay, what about you, Hunter?
Nope. My husband, wait, maybe. My husband tried to show me A Christmas Story as an adult, and it just did not land. Seeing it for the first time as an adult. But what's the Christmas Story with Chevy Chase?
National Lampoon's Vacation.
National Lampoon's, isn't it?
Yeah.
There we go.
I think it's just National Lampoon's.
It's their Christmas, Christmas edition.
Okay. And I loved The Christmas Story, but I did watch it as a kid. So the Triple Dog Dare You, licking the frozen pole, and like all of that hit when I was a kid. And now when I watch it as an adult, it's still like it's the nostalgia factor. So, and the Red Ryder BB gun, the famous "You'll Shoot Your Eye Out." Come on, you can't beat that.
Oh, what I'm looking for, Christmas Vacation. Sorry, we're going back and forth.
And the iconic, because I grew up a military brat, so like cussing just happens in the military. So that line where the kid starts cussing and the mom asks him where he heard that, and he's picturing his dad in his head, and then he has to say the bully's name because he can't say I learned it from dad because he doesn't want to get in more trouble. So many good scenes. You know, that might have to come up as a movie review for this year. We haven't recorded those yet.
It really should.
It really should. All right. So, next we have Jana. So what is your favorite Christmas movie?
So my very favorite is A Christmas Carol. I like the Muppets version the very most, though the version with Patrick Stewart is also really kick butt. I have several, and I will watch them. And I mean, Scrooged was hysterical. So I like all the different versions of taking on Dickens. And then our local theater does an amazing theater in the round and does A Christmas Carol. So I will go and watch that live as many years as possible.
That is awesome. We'll have to include us on if they're doing it digitally, and maybe we can watch together or something if it's available online. All right, Jesse, what is your favorite Christmas movie?
Die Hard.
Excellent answer.
And to give a real answer, because Die Hard's not always accepted as a Christmas movie, even though it is, and if you don't think it is,
it's accepted here.
The Nightmare Before Christmas as well. That's a Christmas tradition for my family. That's what plays while we put the tree up.
How did that start?
My mother, she loves the movie. Don't get me wrong, nobody else complained, but it was just music's really big in my family. There's a lot of professional musicians. My grandfather played bass for Jerry Lee Lewis.
Oh, nice.
That's a whole nother story for another day. Jerry Lee ended up accidentally shooting him. So that turns into a whole ordeal. I don't want to derail the episode with that. But anyway, the point is, music's big in my family. There's multiple pro musicians. We got 800 guitars, and so music ends up being part of almost every holiday.
Nice. And finally, we got Miss Teri.
Well, I'm going to be lame, and I'm going to repeat an answer. Muppet Christmas Carol. However, I will also add that when I was in college, they did a play for the end of their fall season one year that was called Inspecting Carol, which was absolutely hilarious. It's like, how many ways can the Christmas Carol go wrong? Let me list them off. So that was a good show as well.
Nice. And then finally, we're hoping that you enjoy getting to know us a little better. So we're spending the first half on the personal side instead of just random favorite movies. Because we are civilized human beings here at the Blasters and Blaze podcast, we are no longer knuckle dragging troglodytes. What coffee or tea, and how do you take it? But we're going to pivot just a little bit and say, what is your favorite caffeinated beverage for the Christmas season? Hunter, you get to go first.
Circle. It pretends to be water, but it tastes better.
Circle, what is that? I've never heard of this.
It's a water bottle. Oh, I could do a commercial. It's a water bottle with a flavor cartridge. And every 3 to 5 days when it runs out, you put another flavor in. So it's just flavored water, but it makes me drink water. And it makes my kids drink water.
Apparently we need to get them to be a sponsor.
What?
We got to look for them to be a sponsor, because every time someone says water, I still picture my drill sergeant in the back of my head. Drink water. And then we're supposed to say, beat the heat, drill sergeant. I don't know why. That's stuck in my head. That is a formidable memory. And you privates, all you want to do is eat, sleep, shit, and use up all my goddamn toilet paper. And as a dad, I can relate to the toilet paper one, because oh my goodness, kids. So some formidable memories of my youth. All right, Chloe, what are you drinking during the holiday season?
Yeah. So it's not caffeinated, but it is very specially a holiday drink where for just the briefest season, they do the sparkling grape juice that comes in like the 12 by 12 by 12 pallets at all of the grocery stores. But if you look really hard, next to the grape juice is a sparkling cherry juice. And that is a very special treat to track down and buy like 6 of them and put them in my fridge. And back in college, I started doing this. And it was well known that I don't drink. And my husband's roommates would come in and head back to their rooms as I'm sitting on the couch in their front room, drinking one of these out of a bottle on their front couch. And I got a legit triple take out of one of the guys drinking my sparkling cherry juice sitting on their front couch. He finally came back and told me I was holding the bottle wrong. He went on with his life. But yes, it is a very special Christmas season drink that I look forward to every year.
All right, Jana, are you going to surprise me and say Dr. Pepper today?
Well, I would, but it's the Christmas season stuff, and so I have to go with peppermint hot chocolate. And the coffee brown coffee, peppermint hot chocolate is really, really good. But the other thing that I do is there's a place called Creo Brew, and it is brewed hot chocolate, and it is amazing. So you get all the peppermint nibs, and I have a French press just for this, which when I bought it, because we don't drink coffee, my mother's like, why are you buying this thing? And I'm like, because I brew hot chocolate. And she goes, this is a thing? It's like, oh yes, this is a thing, and you must have it. And it is amazing. And so I do brewed hot chocolate, and it's got to be peppermint hot chocolate for the holidays, and it is amazing and lovely and has a gazillion calories, and I don't even think about it.
It's a little known fact, but calories actually, there's caloric leakage during the holidays, so they only count as like half because the half-life is whatever. So that's what I tell myself, because I will, doesn't count over the holidays. So I do the coffee version of the hot chocolate, and I do the mocha or a peppermint mocha for the holiday season. Mix it up a little bit because I'm creative like that. All right. So what about you, Jesse? Favorite holiday beverage?
Hot chocolate, lots of marshmallows, or you can do the coffee brand version, and the marshmallow is already in the hot chocolate setup, which is cool. But that's me. That is really my only hot drink. I don't like warm tea. I don't like warm coffee. I associate coffee with a lot of negative memories. So hot chocolate definitely jumps in for that.
I don't know how people live without coffee. It's a mystery. All right. Well, I mean, hate and discontent do motivate you too, but it's coffee that fuels it. So, all right, last, certainly not least, Teri, what is your beverage of choice for the holiday season?
I'm gonna be boring, y'all. Hot chocolate. Although I will say, Jana, the
boring.
Korea brew, yes, is very good too.
So there's a chocolatier place near us in Virginia Beach, near my mom, that actually will do, like, they make chocolate on site, and they do a European sipping chocolate, which is like hot chocolate but a lot thicker. I remember getting that the first time, and I'm like, what size do you want? I'm like, I get larges all the time, a large. And they kind of looked at me like, do you know what you're asking for? And I take it without looking, and I just chug a swig, and then my face like did the pucker thing because it was so sweet that I had to give it away. And I made the mistake because my kids were like, the first time I had it, the oldest was 4 and the youngest was 2, and I let them have a sip and then sent them all sugary back to the wife. And let me tell you, my couch, the next time one I bought, was a lot more comfortable. Just going to say, because she was not pleased that I gave that to them. But yeah, that was pretty intense. I should have clued in by the sipping chocolate part. The sipping should have told me something, but all right. Anyway, so now that we got the fun stuff out of the way, getting to know us a little bit in our nerdy holiday stuff, we're going to pause for a moment while we shamelessly show for the woman this time. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about bards. So let's play that beautiful footage.
Introducing The Shaman's Bones, Migratory Farmers Book 1 by Hunter Kay Wallace. This fantasy features fierce animal gods, omens of the stars, and a quest to find a very special set of bones. When Yolanda is made an ambassador in her caravan of migratory farmers, it's a dream come true, until a trade in a village on the equator goes terribly wrong. The skies foretell trouble, the spirit animals are angry, and shadow monsters prowl the night. Worst of all, Yolanda is supposed to fix everything. To do so, she'll need the bones to summon the greatest spirit animal of all. Yolanda isn't alone. She's the help of a resentful young man whose life she has ruined, a gorgeous bone collector obsessed with corpses, a nanny turned sleuth, and a very attractive blasphemer who hates the spirits even more than she does. She'd rather be alone, or stealing glances at the broad-shouldered, brown-eyed blasphemer. No, she'd rather be alone. Maybe. Learn more about the Shaman's Bones and other works by Hunter Kay Wallace at hunterkwallace.com.
All right. So I did not tell her she was sponsoring this episode. I just sort of slid that in so we could all, in the backstage when the thing was going, we could see her facial reactions. It was priceless, people. I wish we could have recorded that. So you did good. You did good. I mean, we can't all be Teri and have our own narration chops, right? Like, we can't all be so awesome. So the rest of us just have to muddle along somehow. All right. So with that out of the way, so first, as always, when we do these panels, we got to define our terms. So I did a quick wiki search because Wikipedia is the lazy man's research, and I didn't disagree with it, so we're going to go with it. So a bard, in Celtic cultures, a bard is an oral repository and professional storyteller, a verse maker, music composer, oral historian, and genealogist employed by a patron, such as a monarch or a chieftain, to commemorate one or more of the patron's ancestors and to praise the patron's activities. With the decline of a living bardic tradition in the modern period, the term has loosened to mean a generic minstrel or author, especially a famous one. So I think I agree with that because I copied and pasted it. But what about everyone else? Are we satisfied with that term or that definition?
Yeah.
Anybody want to add anything?
It covers it.
Okay. So with that, we're going to start with you, Hunter. So what is it about the bard that made you want to suggest this panel? And you are muted.
You're on mute. You're on mute.
I've been on mute. Oh my goodness. Well, I picked it because I like, being on a panel. Oh, I liked it because it's fun. I like the idea of a fantasy where you can have the big guy with the sword, but this isn't just the big guy with the sword.
Okay. So you like the finding solutions that aren't just brawn or magic. I like that.
I mean, we can have some magic in there, but getting a little creative with it.
Okay, so obviously Bard became one of the iconic character classes in role-playing games, which then led it to be sometimes included in fantasy novels. But what is it you think about the Bard that makes it sort of stick around, even though anybody that plays is like, are they really that useful?
Because they're funny.
Okay, go on.
the bard character is the one who doesn't live by the rules, has no particular set of expectations that they need to live up to. They do what they want, they say what they want. It's like the jester in the king's court. They're allowed to say and do the things that nobody else is allowed to say or do. And they can play and they can act in ways that are unexpected and just they turn the plot effortlessly because they don't have to comply with other expectations. They're fantastic.
Okay, do other people see the bard and the jester as sort of being interchangeable?
I would agree that that's true. I'd also say that it goes a little deeper than that. Asking if a bard is useful is like asking if a librarian is useful. Bards are also a depository of knowledge. Like, think about how many random things as a writer you've had to research and how that affects your life. Like, I tell people all the time, and they look at me funny, John Ringo saved my life. And people think that's wild, but the book that everybody does the whole "oh no, John Ringo" thing about, that was the Paladin of Shadow series. The second book's called Kildar, and it has appendicitis in it. And appendicitis is accurately described. All the symptoms, what it feels like. It happens to one of the characters. They have to rush her to the hospital. A couple years later, I get those exact same symptoms. Now, I tell you, I'm a very stubborn man, and I do not like going to the doctor. But when I went to sit up, and it felt like I got punched in the liver, and it was right where my elbow met my body, I knew either I'm having sudden liver issues or I have appendicitis. Off to the emergency I went. I spent a month in the hospital septic after it ruptured, but I got there in time. And, so, like, having a bard around is not just having somebody funny, though the characters are often extremely charismatic, but it's also knowing the difference between how to kill, knowing vulnerabilities of a beast, or knowing how to get into an ancient temple, knowing, the stories of all of these ancient things. The bard fills that role. Like I said, it's more than just charisma or humor. It's knowledge as well.
Okay.
And it's also generally vastly manipulation. Bards are generally very charismatic. They operate both in front of and behind the scenes, and they are able to manipulate events and people and that kind of thing. And some of it is their natural charisma. It's how they learn to get by. But when you get into the magic of a bard, a lot of times it's charms, it's hypnosis, it's things where they very literally connect to the brains of their audiences and control them, and that can go in scary directions. Member of the show, Melissa McShane, in War Master, her bard faces this, and so does her main character in this person who is supposed to be on my team and all that kind of stuff. I have just seen him manipulate the mind of somebody else. What happens if he ever decides to turn that on me? What is that question there where this is somebody who, with their music, their voice, their this, that, and the other, can literally climb into your brain and charm you to behave a certain way or to move a certain direction? The bard is lots more than just that gesture, just that front person. They can be malicious, they can be manipulative, they can have all these different things they do for good, ill, and in between, because they are often overlooked or only seen as being one thing. There's a reason why it's the Harpers in the D&D movie. And it's like, yeah, it's these guys that they can go anywhere. They can get access to all sorts of places. They can hit you in the head with their loot, apparently. Makes me sad for the loot every time. But that's not wrong. And that is historical, where you would have bards that would carry messages. You would have performers that would be assassins. They would be lots of different things. And it all has this bardic front persona.
I just was thinking as you wrote that, I'm like, holy crap, the Jedis are bards.
There's a lot of that going on there.
Yeah. Yes.
So is the mind control, the magical element, something that came on later? Or because, originally, like I said, it really was just the oral history was big, and that was who spent their life memorizing the stories. At what point in time did they become associated with the magical and the illusionary and the compulsion?
I think that's a natural evolution of what the scald bard, what your rock star can do. You can call it magic all you want, but in a world without modern psychology, what does something like, Jim Jones look like? Like, these people can't be that crazy, can they? It must be magic. And so I can only imagine in the year 900 that there's plenty of stories of just utterly captivating cult leader-esque people with that level of charisma, your rock stars of the early ages, that it seemed like magic. I think that's just a natural evolution. I mean, I don't know the history of song telling. I know some of the musical history and how that ties in, but at some point, I'm sure that story was naturally evolved.
It's easy to do that. You think Anne McCaffrey, the Harpers on Pern, Master Robinson, he is running the whole thing. He has Harpers in every hall and everywhere in everything else, and they all report to him, and he coordinates all this information and makes sure that the right people get the right kind of information. He is just this intricate web of what's going on. And while technically he doesn't have magic there isn't a magic system in that world, he is still a phenomenally powerful figure. And it does almost seem like magic when he's talking to people, the way that he can read them, the way that he manipulates them. So making that jump as fantasy authors, that's an easy jump to make. And I can't think of the earliest one where it was magical, but like Mercedes Lackey, the Heralds of Valdemar, a lot of that, there's bardic touches to it. There is musical touches where they do various things. And that's back a while. So you see it all over. It was a really natural jump to go from these people who are so interconnected, who do have all this information, to manipulation and what could they do with magic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Brandon Sanderson has a nice take. He finally wrote a true medieval, other than having magic kind of book. He wrote The Frugal Wizard's Handbook to Surviving Medieval England. And it is a hoot. In it, they have a scald woman where her job is to be a storyteller who empowers the runes to protect villages. So it takes those historical aspects, but also like moves them a little further for, well, if magic is here, how would this look?
Okay. And you said that was Brandon Sanderson's. Let me write that down.
I'll write it down for you. It's The Frugal Wizard's Handbook to Surviving Medieval England. And it's actually a time travel book, sort of. It's lying to you. It doesn't know what it is, but it's a blast.
Okay. I can see some of the laughter. The other people have clearly read this as well.
It's really good.
I'll have to check it out. I tried to read some of Sanderson, and it just didn't. The prose didn't pull me in. I have enjoyed.
Shorter, and the language is more modern.
Okay. I'll have to check it out. Like I said, nothing against him. I've enjoyed his dissertations that he's graciously recorded for free for everyone of his creative writing classes he teaches at BYU. Because learning is fun. I mean, I've never read a lot of King's books, but I also read his own writing. So it's always fun to sort of dive into the mind of someone else and see how they think. And so I'll have to check that out. All right. So do you think as, technology evolves, as tastes evolve, do you see bards as being a constant, or do you think that they're going to evolve as a concept as well?
I think they'll always be the bard in some form or other. The trilogy I'm working on currently, one of the main characters is a bard, and there are other ones that he encounters as he learns how to do what he's trying to do. And just in general with, pop culture and memes and whatnot, it's always like, oh, who did the bard sleep with this time? That's a joke that doesn't get old a lot of the time. So I think there's many different sides to bards, and I think as we move forward, I think even all those different veins might just keep going. They might become different things. Who's to say?
Trying to place what a bard is today. I go to the entertainers on YouTube who tell stories and perform and do strange, uncommon things that people are drawn to because it's interesting and it's entertaining and it's new, and this is a person that I really like who they are, and I like how they perform and entertain, and they draw massive audiences that they change the world.
Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves is a massive multi-million-dollar actor with an amazing action franchise. He's an awesome actual shooter from training with Taron Butler at Taron Tactical. You can find 3-gun videos of him tearing it up. He plays guitar in a band. It might be bass, but one way or another, he's in a traveling band, and he just did a professional race, like race car racing. The man is absolutely a character. He's a bard in every way that it matters. He's got the action down. He's got the movies down. I mean, it's all of it.
I will see your Keanu Reeves. I will raise you a Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, that's fine. I don't disagree. not one bit.
Yeah.
I think that they do evolve. I think that I was just playing Cyberpunk 2077. Which is set way in the future and has super futuristic technology. And there's a character named Carrie Uridine, and Carrie is the bard. He's guitar playing, doing crazy stuff. He talks his way into weird situations. He's half drunk off his rear end all the time, and it still doesn't make a difference. And we have real life examples of bards. We have modern examples of bards in stories, and they're just going to continue to be rock stars or the face characters, fixers, smooth talkers. That's what they're going to be, and that's not going to change until humans go digital and turn into robots and blow ourselves up. There's always going to be that charismatic person that runs purely off of their ability to be alluring to others.
Well, and from the time we're little, we gravitate towards storytelling and we gravitate towards music. This is how we learn what's important to us. This is how we connect with the people around us. This is part of how we decide who is in our tribe and who is out of our tribe, is by the stories that we share, the music that we share, things like that. If I start listing, 80s rock bands, which are near and dear to my heart, and other people go, yeah, it's the big hair bands, I know you are my people. That's just kind of an immediate thing that the way that we connect. And so those bards and storytellers and that kind of thing, they will always be there because story is so important to it as human beings. And you look at all the new technology things and people go, oh yes, tech is taking over and, people are playing video games instead of reading books. I'm like, okay, I get that. But at the same time, my husband is currently playing the new Mech Warriors Mercenaries that just came out. And the reason everybody wants the Mercenaries pack was not just for the cooler mechs, which they are, but it's because they wanted the story to come back. And they're all about, we're invading the Inner Rim, and we've got these guys coming, and it's these guys, and it's Ghost Jaguar, and it's these certain clans, and we're so excited about it. It's like, that's from Mech Warrior 2. And all of these nerds have carried this storyline forward to go, what happened to those clans? What happened to those planets? And you're playing a game around it, but you're there for the story. You're there to find out what happened, and that's why these ones get such popularity versus some of the others where it's like, okay, it's a first-person shooter with no through line. It's fine for a while, but a lot of the franchises that stick, there's a storyline, and so we may be doing it more digitally. We may be partaking of it in, like you say, all the reels that you watch, and they're telling you a line of stories. Here's all the restaurant stories. Here's all the whatever. And we're going to them for entertainment, all based on telling us stories, singing us songs. The bard will never go away. It just looks slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned storytelling, and that's the big component that goes all the way back to the original term in Celtic culture. So would you think then that since oral storytelling still exists in the form of audiobook narrators, that they are the OG bards?
What do you think, Teri?
I think they are.
I mean,
I
I'll
think
take it.
Nick
I'll
Podell
take
is
whatever
a
cool points I can get.
If anyone's heard Nick Podell, I'm pretty sure he's a bard with the magic too. Whole bunch.
I mean, I hear some of the people when they talk about the narrators, they really like you often hear, I'd listen to them read their shopping list, or I'd listen to them read the yellow pages because it's the voice. So I mean, that's you're on track with people that are popular. They have that kind of hypnotic effect.
Well, and
So-
even within the family, my husband is the bard. I am not. For all that I write the stories, when the family wants to listen to somebody read them a story or tell them a story, they don't want to hear my stories. They want him to, because he has 30 some odd 40 million voices cut in his head, and he has presence, and he has all these things. And I will watch my grown sons turn into being 7 and 11 years old again, just in rapt fascination, listening to their father tell them stories. And I'm like, yep, he got the bard class. I'm a cleric class. I accept this of myself, but he's got bard points because he can bring them in and just keep them there.
I mean, there's something about that. I still remember my scout leader when I was like 10 and his interpretive reading of the creation of Sam McGee with the costume and the voices. And I could still listen to that now and it would take you back because there's just something away that delivery, right? And you get the wrinkle in the voice at just the right time. Like there's something to be said for timing and delivery in storytelling, making it pop even today. So, and I guess if you limit it, you focus on storytelling, video games too, because games are stories in a different form, the good ones, the ones that stick. There's a reason why the games you like, you also want the movies and the books in that world because you get sucked in. I mean, Halo started as a video game and suddenly there are the books and, like you said, movies, some of them well done, some of them not. The same is true with like Mario. Who would have thought that video game would ever spawn movies, right? The Super Mario Brothers. So I don't think it's that far-fetched, Jana, to call that a storytelling venue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So. The Gears of War series had a really underrated novel series that was attached to it. And I can't think of anything that's more action-driven than evil monsters with guns popped up out of the ground, and now we have to have cover-based gunfights with them. Like, this was never intended to be a deep, meaningful story. It was a fight for survival, and that was what the stakes are always centered around. But people still wanted to read in that universe. And I think that speaks to the universal and unending nature of sitting at the campfire and telling each other about things that happened in the days of yore.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, if you haven't been camping where you've done the campfire thing and you've sat around and told stories, you are missing out. Because there's just something about that experience that's special.
I can reframe it as bedtime. Like
what's that?
If you've ever, or like for me and my brother, we're 12 years old. It's lights out, and we're tucked in or whatever. But you're not quite ready to go to sleep yet, and you can't turn the TV on, or Mom's going to hear it. We're going to be in trouble. So if you've ever just sat with someone in the dark for any reason and had nothing to do but make something up or talk about something that happened when the other person wasn't there, that's it. That's story time.
Burnt marshmallow. You're right, Jana. She says burnt marshmallows and freezing your butt off while frying your face. So there's something about it. And then the flames on the marshmallows that you have to quickly blow out because you don't want to burn the place down, like start a forest fire. That's always good. And you're right, Teri. The best marshmallows are the ones that have been fully on fire.
Oh yeah,
that
I do that on purpose.
I see these videos where people will like make s'mores in their oven or in their air fryer. No, you need an open fire. The smell of soot, the burnt ashes embedded in your marshmallow, they add flavor.
Yep.
You know what
absolutely.
the great thing is about having a gas stove?
What's that?
Fire. You can make marshmallows indoors.
You can.
But
Not
it's
the full
kerosene,
experience,
so
but we're halfway there.
I mean, it's kerosene though, so you're going to get that gassy. It's not the same as a wood fire.
Well, I mean, I eat the food, so it hasn't killed me yet.
There is that old adage, but did you die? As the end of when someone complains about something. So you are halfway there to the promised land, madam. All right, so we've been going at it for about an hour. We've talked a lot about bards. We could probably keep going, but we'll be circling the proverbial wagon because I think we've said what we need to say. Are there anything else people want to address before we wrap this puppy up? Anyone? Bueller?
I think we got it.
All right. So if you
Yeah.
don't know what Bueller is, go watch it and come back to me. You're too young to be listening. All right. So we're going to just kind of go round robin and say what we're writing at the moment or narrating, Teri, and then how they can find you. So Teri, since we're going to go clockwise, you first. What are you writing or narrating or both? And how can they find you?
On a bit of a break from the narrating stuff at the moment. As for writing, I'm working on a trilogy, as I said, that features a bard, of all things. Working on book 3 at the moment, going through a first draft. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully, by the time this airs, it'll be done.
And how
Probably
can they
not,
find you?
but I'm gonna hope.
And how can they find you on the wild interwebs?
Oh, that's right. You can find me most frequently on the Book of Faces, Facebook. Sharing memes, occasionally putting up pictures of cats, fun stuff.
I mean, isn't that what the internet was created for? Cats?
They're a native
Absolutely.
All right. And next we have Mr. Jesse James Fain. What are you writing and where can they find you?
I am currently writing too much. I am working on the Holy Diver in the Midnight Sea, which will be my own curated universe, eventually be an anthology featuring me and a bunch of other awesome author friends. I am also just starting on a dragon story for an upcoming dragon anthology. And then of course I have novels featuring all of the characters from my short stories that I should probably start working on at some point or they're never going to get written. So I got a lot to work on right now. Lots of fun stuff. There will be some bard type characters all throughout, I am sure. You can find me at outlawauthor.com. That's kind of the central space. You'll get a little preview of some of my stories and be able to find on my socials. You can find me on Substack. I try and release little free tidbits and just fun, cool stuff on there about stuff I like, martial arts, guns, all the fun stuff I put in my stories. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. It's either my full name, Jesse James Fain, or Jesse James Books. If you do find me on Facebook, that's personal page. All my writing stuff gets announced on there, but you're going to get my actual personal thoughts, so be warned. And that's pretty much it for me.
All right, and that anthology he's talking about is called Deadly Fire, an anthology of dragons, and it should be coming out mid-January. So a month from now when you're listening, for whatever that's worth for you people that like cool dragons. All right, next we have Miss Jena S Brown. So what are you writing and how can they find you?
You can find me over at opalkingdompress.com and all over under Jena Rey or Jena Rey Author or Jana S Brown or Jana S Brown Writes or other things we're not talking about on this podcast. Currently what I am writing, like Jesse, I have too many irons and they're all kind of edging along the fire and they all take... Then I'm going to drop my microphone. They all get turns getting shoved in. So right now, the thing that's getting the most attention is an urban fantasy called The Sentinels of Essence. And book 1 of that came out in 2017. And then I tried not to die for a while. And so it got shelved. And so I am trying to now pull it back out. And it does feature the main character's best friend is a storyteller and a ghostly medium. So she can see ghosts and she tells stories for a living. So I think she's a bard. But hopefully the next book in that's going to be coming out, hopefully about the time this podcast comes out, maybe a little bit later.
Nice. And I can tell you from experience, the expression, but did you die, hits a little different when you've almost died a few times. So,
yes,
yep.
it's a very different expression after almost dying several times.
I still use it, though, because I'm shameless like that.
I will take it, but it does hit different.
Yeah, all right, Chloe, what are you writing at the moment? Keep in mind, we're talking in October, but this is releasing in December.
Which means that I would really like to have what I'm doing now done and be starting the next one. But unfortunately, it means it's still the same answer. I am working on a series of space opera novels with a smuggler crew and lots of big personalities running around trying to save the galaxy. Having a great time. I've got 4 books, one after the next in this series planned. So you could ask me the same answer in January and you'd get the same. You'd ask me the same question, you get the same answer. Yeah. You can find me on the internet at chloegarner.com for my website, blog, thoughts. You can find me at Facebook. The best place to hang out with me is my Facebook group. They are the best people in the whole universe. And that's where I act like a human being. So if you want to actually hang out and talk, that's the place to look for me.
So are you going to have your roguish pirate character actually do roguishly pirate things? Or are you going to go all Han Solo and say he's that thing, but never show him doing the thing?
I have an actual pirate who's very roguish and who is trying to figure out whether or not he's going to turn out to be the good guy or if he's going to be the one who watches the opportunities and waves at them as they go by. I don't have a proper rogue on my spacecraft.
How is this possible? I think it's like required in the International Authors Guild.
I have an engineer instead. He fills the boots, but he's not an actual rogue.
I don't know. We'll have to read it and decide if it counts.
You tell me.
There we go. And you can tell her, dear listener, by going to the reviews and please be kind and speak your mind on the reviewing platforms. Your reviews help the right readers find the right books to do your part. It really does matter. Wherever you buy the book, leave a review, write a website to leave a review there, whatever you got to do, but share your thoughts. You go to Goodreads, you go to BookBub. I think there's probably a few other places, but your thoughts really do matter. That was the perfect segue, Chloe. Thank you for that. But I didn't want you to think I forgot you, Hunter. So what are you writing at the moment? And then where can they find you?
Not about bards. I am writing the 3rd book in my Migratory Farmers series, The Aluminum Ziggurat. And it's a fun mashup of proximity romance plus Pteranodon plus magic to turn alumina ore into aluminum. And for reasons I get away with having an ATV and a fantasy without breaking it. Hopefully.
Sweet.
Hopefully.
And where can they find you on the interwebs?
They can find me on the interwebs at hunterkwallace.com and on Facebook.
Nice. Now, you got to remember when you write this and you contact your narrator, like if you're talking to Teri to narrate your books, it's aluminium, so you sound proper. Can you do that for us? Let us hear that proper British accent, Teri. Can you do that as we wrap this up?
Aluminium.
See, there we go. And the rain in Spain stays mainly on the plains. All right.
By Jove, I think he's got it.
You can find us on our Linktree, linktr.ee, Linktree/Blasters and Blades Podcast. Again, Linktree/Blasters and Blades Podcast, where we link to all the things, the BitChutes, the Rumbles, the YouTubes, the TikToks, the Twitters. We have our Blasters and Blades Facebook group and Facebook page. We can email us at blastersandbladespodcast@gmail.com. Again, blastersandbladespodcast@gmail.com for professional purposes only, people. Save the shenanigans from Madam Stabby Stab over there on the Instagram, Twitter, and the email. She's getting a little lonely, so make sure you send her some love. You can find our website on that Linktree, Spotify. It's a lot of gobbledygook, but you can look on Spotify for us or trust our Linktree. Click the link. And while you're there, for as little as 99 cents a month, you can help keep the lights on. These episodes aren't free to produce, and every penny helps. And I can tell you, when you're listening to this in December, we will be actively looking for an alternative to StreamYards because they are like going from $100 a year to $500 a year, and ain't nobody got time for that nonsense. So every penny helps. If you want to contribute, you could go to support the show at buymeacoffee.com/author J.R. Handley. Again, so buymeacoffee.com/author J.R. Handley. Be sure to put in the comment sections for the podcast, and I promise I will keep my co-hosts duly caffeinated. They will drink that coffee bread coffee until they float away on a river of Java. They will drink until Teri can finally put her pinky down. That's right, because she's proper like that.
Nope.
She can't do it. She can't do it, see? There you go. And if you go to that Coffee Brand Coffee link in the show notes and use the code podcast grunts, you get 10% off. We get a little bit of a kickback. It's a win-win. You help an American company hire American workers. Shop local. It's the way to go. If you're overseas, find a local roaster there. Buy local coffee. It is for the best for the environment. And with that, I would like to thank you for spending some of your precious time with us. For my crazy and absentee co-hosts, I am J.R. Handley, and this was the Blasters and Blades podcast. We'll be back next week at the same time. We'll indulge our love of nerd culture, cheesy jokes, and all things that go boom. And with that, we're going to hit the end button. Thank you for everyone for coming on. I know I say we don't get political, so my shop local is about as political as you will ever hear me get, but it's good for your community. It's good for the environment because stuff doesn't travel as far. So it really is. You do a lot of good by doing very little in that respect. And with that, we're going to hit the end button before I say something stupid. Wait for it. No.